gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got 3-wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Kimball Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. We're at Bristol Motor Speedway, covered in dirt for a one-off race of the season. And as always, my name is James East, accompanied by Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Australian, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, every Sunday night. Gareth, we're at Bristol. There's dirt everywhere, and it is going to be a barn burner with over 25 entries here tonight. Josh Robinson sitting on pole, the number 23 machine, but man, oh man, this is going to be an exciting one. What are you expecting to see here tonight?
I have no idea, James. This is going to be amazing. It's just, there's a whole bunch of sideways action, very uncontrollable cars, and a great bunch of dudes to celebrate the craziness with. And, you know, also just want to say pretty briefly, Happy Easter, James.
Yeah, thank you over here. We're in the States, so I assume that was for yesterday for you guys, but great day all the way around, and on a holiday weekend, still a very healthy grid here. I want to say fairly confident 25, 26 drivers making their way out here this evening, so a little bit surprised, very happy to see such a busy grid. Maybe that being kind of attributed to late in the evening, everybody's got the family shenanigans out of the way. But yeah, really excited to see how this one's going to go, and haven't had the chance to join you in the booth for a little while. It's been too long, really. So really excited to get back out here, the Old Bastards Racing League, bringing some new stuff here to the fans as well. And I need to check, Gareth, are we running 165 laps here today at Dirt Bristol? Do you have any idea?
I was listed out at 140, but I'm happy to be wrong. I'm pretty sure what I found out was 140 laps of this half mile at Bristol. That's what I've got listed. But I'm happy to be wrong.
No, I believe you. I just pulled up the stats last season. It was 165 laps. We had 3 leaders, 4 lead changes, and only 3 cautions for 15 laps. But that being said, we also only had 12 drivers coming out last year. So definitely a lot more drivers coming out here at Bristol for the Easter shenanigans. Going to be interesting to see how that goes out. And interesting to see as well, Robinson putting in hot laps still in that number 23. He's already completed his qualifying in the top spot, but trying to get as much seat time as possible and definitely put down a very fast time. He's a quarter of a second faster than Dwayne MacArthur in that 83 machine. So I think Robinson already has the pace, but trying to get as much seat time as he possibly can. And going to be interesting as well. We are going to groom the track a little bit between qualifying and the race, so gonna start off nice, moist dirt here at Bristol, but I'm predicting by the end of this thing, it's gonna be extremely dry, slick. And Gareth, I don't know, do you have any experience dirt racing on the sim?
I've done dirt racing, but I've never done dirt racing in a NASCAR. I can't imagine how difficult it is for these guys to wrap their heads around just what to do here in the car. But I tell you, it's gonna be crazy because there's a lot of horsepower, a lot of cars, not a whole lot of track room, and it's going to be very exciting. You know, NASCAR coming back home to its roots on dirt, and I'm very much looking forward to it, James.
Yeah, no matter what happens, it definitely leads itself to a good show, and we've got a bunch of drivers already in the chat as well. Victor Lane Sports giving us a shout out here saying, I'm really good at this with a winky face. We've got Get Plier TV, I'm sure I butchered that one. Wishing the rest of the racers good luck. We've got Tech Lee, one of our own senior producers here at Team Goon Squad. He's going to enjoy the show, grabbing some pizza rolls and getting ready for some fireworks. It looks like qualifying is about to an end. Alan Wanamaker, Robert Garisco, Bruce Pearson, Brian Lindsay, Troy Baker, Mark Schrader, and Mark Fish all opting not to qualify. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one's going to shape up. I know Garisco does have a penalty coming into tonight, and he's going to serve a green flag drive-through. And I'm curious to see as well, Gareth, are we going to get any green flag runs here tonight, or are we expecting carnage start to finish at this one?
Well, we're getting ready to see. I reckon we're gonna get ready to see quite a few yellows coming out because I believe that they have. It's as I said, it's a very difficult car to handle, especially on the dirt. It's not making it easy for these drivers, and we're going to have a run long enough under green to not see pit flags. Pit stops, I believe. We have fuel to run till the end, so I don't think green flags are going to happen.
I think I might be in agreement with you here. It looks like drivers making their way out onto the grid, starting on pole. Josh Robinson, the number 23 machine. Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, starting second. Courtney Nelson starting third. Dale Copeland starts fourth. Tom Whiteclaw Ogle starting fifth. Dan Hill starting sixth. Lloyd Moore starting seventh. Clay Walker starting eighth here tonight. Eddie Cajun Jones starting ninth. Then we circle it back a little bit further. Michael Watts, the number 84, he's starting 10th. Cameron Shosey starting 11th. Kenneth Schultz starting 12th. Cycling it back on the grid, we've got Wayne Hufford starts 13th. Brian McRubbin starting 14th. Chris Bates starting 15th. Brian Lynch starts 16th. Greg McDaniel, Mr. Kimball himself, starting 17th. Jeff Miller starts 18th. Victor Lane starting 19th. Alan Wanamaker starting 20th. Bruce Pearson starts 21st. Robert Garisco starting 22nd. Mark Schrader starts 23rd. And Mark Fish will round out. Oh, I take it back. There's a couple more. Fish starts 24th. Then we've got Brian Lindsay starting 25th. And then Troy Baker will round out the 26 car grid here today. So, gotta say, for guessing there was 25 entries, pretty much on the money. And you were right. We are, looks like 140 laps on the docket here at Bristol. And I am ready for some fireworks here tonight as we get ready to roll these competitors out behind the iRacing pace truck here, the Kimball Cup Series, only at the Old Bastards Racing League.
Yeah, now I have to do all of us a favor, I think, at this point, James, and I know you've just taken a break, probably having a little bit of a glass of water, but I just want to get everyone to know this. Well, once again, if in case everyone has missed it, in the spectator area, you did break your foot. Now, how is that healing up? I'm curious to know, as I'm sure everyone else is.
Foot's doing well. I know Ogle was very curious about it. Additionally, foot's going well, still in the cast, putting pressure on it. Not quite able to drive in sim yet or turn any real life laps, but starting to put pressure on it. We go back to the ortho next Monday, and either that doctor is taking off the cast or I am taking off the cast because I'm going stir crazy here, both in the booth and at the farm. So, yeah, should be back on track pretty soon. Things are healing relatively well, and yeah, we'll just see what happens.
All right, sounds good, as I believe we're going to go one more time around before we go green. But, yeah, James, you know what? That's sounding like it's healing pretty well. I mean, I am very fortunate to have never broken a bone yet, and I'm sure my time will come soon. But I can't imagine what that felt like.
Terrible, but it comes with the territory of the action sport shenanigans, so no worries, as you say in the Land Down Under, as we get ready for the iRacing safety truck to come down pit road. It's going to be Robinson, MacArthur on that front row, Nelson and Copeland your second row, Ogle and Hill your third row, and the fans may have noticed in the spectator area as well, we do have a poll going up. At what point will Eddie Cajun Jones crash into Tom Whiteclaw Ogle? The options are pretty much immediately, by around lap 15, or they'll go the whole race clean. Got about 6 votes so far, but we are green and underway, and already things are getting a little bit dicey. Robinson struggles to put the power down. Dale Copeland, number 55 machine, he's ripping the high line behind Dwayne MacArthur, and the top three already getting a bit of a breakaway here, Gareth.
Yeah, it's looking very, very racy indeed as MacArthur tries the high side and does it well so far. Robinson got a little bit squirrely in there. They're all just shifting their weight around the rear end as Dale Copeland, really almost out of nowhere, he is charging through and seems to have a bit more pace during the midpoint of the corner than these guys up front.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the lines develop for our fans here today, those that don't normally watch dirt racing, either in real life or in sim. This track will be constantly changing as we've got a driver down low. Looks like somebody's got problems. You know what that was? That was Robert Garisco serving his penalty early on here today. So thankfully, no caution as of yet. I thought that might have been a wreck in progress. And we're going to go a little bit further back to check in on Dan Hill. as we try and get our, there we go, our picture-in-picture. We've got Dan Hill, the number 7 machine, down low, as in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, focused on Dwayne MacArthur, race leader. Hill kind of in the Thunderdome here. He's got Clay Walker, Eddie Jones, but we've got a crash coming out here, Gareth.
It looks like Wayne Hufford. That is not what we like to see. I don't know why I said his name like that, but yeah, that is not what we want to see. So hopefully
we get our replay
one
queued up here.
Yep.
We're focused in on Hufford in that 75 machine. Such a great guy on off the track. Does a lot of YouTube and streaming work himself. So let's keep an eye out the 75. Little loose, little loose. Looks like he might.
Oh, Garisco comes down.
Yeah, Garisco.
I think
down.
it just lost the rear end on the
no!
dirt. Oh, watch that.
Garisco and Hufford drilling the barrier there.
Well, that 75 machine is not going to be super happy.
Yeah.
He's going to be happy with Newcastle, though. Newcastle Football Club made it into the Champions League. I mean, who would have thought? I know that you don't probably watch soccer all that much, James, but I'm sure he's very happy in that car.
Yeah, absolutely no
with
idea what you're talking about, but I've seen you and Hufford go back and forth in the driver's area talking about it before, so cool to see a bit of a tip of the hat across the international waters. Looks like Robert Garisco coming down pit road. Now, interesting, Troy Baker, Mark Schrader. Looks like neither one started this main event, so not sure if they had some sort of issues coming into tonight, but we are under our first caution of the night, 7 laps in. And Gareth, what's your thoughts? Over, under, what do you think? Are we going to see 4 cautions, more or less?
I think we're going to see more than that. That's my honest opinion of this one, but I believe they're going to do the same thing that they do in NASCAR, like in Real Cup Series as well, where they have the trucks come out under yellow and bring in some more dirt for them. So I believe we're going to be re-gripped up, and I mean, we're going to keep getting loose as the runs keep on going on, but these drivers have so much to work out in such a small amount of time.
And you're right. So we talked to Race Control before this event. They're not going to completely regroom the track and resurface, but they are having, out of picture here, they do have the blower. It's taking off the marbles, the loose dirt up on the high side to try and get a little bit more bite into the track. Unfortunately, we're not going to till, plow, and water this thing again until it is done and over. But you're right. They are going to do a little bit under pacing to try and clear up that high side and get rid of that loose dirt. And for the fans at home as well, you can kind of see MacArthur right there, how that section of the track starting to blue up, get a little bit darker. They are actually getting the moisture out of the track when you're seeing that. Starts to slicken up the dirt, and that's going to get very, very slippery by the end of the night. And you can see the kind of thicker, loamier dirt on the high side. That is where the traction is going to be at, as it looks like Robinson maybe getting a formation. I'm going to be curious as well. Are we going to go double file restarts? It looks like we are, as Robinson and MacArthur will be on the front row.
Yeah, that's a very big call, but it certainly looks like that's the way it's going to end up traveling. As I believe right now we're on the backstretch, so we're going to go around and get ready to get underway once again pretty soon. But you know, let's not forget Joshua Robinson. He started on pole. He's looking pretty racy. It looks like MacArthur's chosen the high side, and both of them have wins. Joshua has the last win in our previous race at, I believe that was, oh man, how am I stopping up right now? But we're under green anyway, as MacArthur and Robinson go side by side into turn 1. It looks like Robinson is going to take over the lead on that low side, so MacArthur choosing that high side might not be in his favor right now, but he gets a lot of a run. He's going to do the switchback and try his way underneath, but it looks like Robinson is just centered into that corner and made it stick on the high side.
Yeah, MacArthur definitely needed the drive out of the corner he was looking for. Robinson, coming off that most recent win at Richmond, wants to make it back-to-back, but it looks like Dale Copeland as well as Courtney Nelson. And look, there's Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine. Ogle holding on to the top 5 position, doing a great job here, managing to maybe crawl his way back up towards the front. And he's got to be careful. His longtime competition, Eddie Jones, just 3 spots back from that number 11 machine. As we go a little bit further back in the field, focusing on Ogle, he is doing his best to try and get around the number 30 machine of Courtney Nelson. Nelson up high, Ogle down low. You can also see Lloyd Moore, the number 26 machine. Oh no, Nelson hard up into the wall there. And looks like he might have a little bit of front right damage as he is struggling to get that machine pointed back in the right direction. That thing is fighting him every step of the way. A little bit further back, there's Michael Watts, the number 84 machine, trying to track down Dan Hill. Hill having a rough go as well. He is down 3 spots. Correct me if I'm wrong, is Robinson already working through traffic here?
It certainly looks like he is, yeah. As I believe there are already some vehicles a lap down, but you know, he's showing incredible pace at the moment. You know, you can't take it away from these guys. They're still traveling around 105 miles an hour, as you can see Garisco just in front there.
Oh, we've got problems.
That damage earlier on, and yep.
That's going to be Victor Lane with big issues.
Yeah, sorry to step on you there, James.
See what happened to Victor. We saw him lose a bunch of spots. He went down a lap in that number 10 machine as we were once again under eye-pacing conditions. He's not at all up on the banking, so it looked like almost Victor was trying to get out of the way of the lead pack. But there is very little to no grip down there, and yeah, just loops the back end, sends it sliding around, and a little bit of a gentle boop into our good friend inside wall. You see the spectators not really losing their minds, seemed pretty placid in what they're watching, but unfortunately, that will bring out the caution and put us back under eye-pacing, for our second caution of the night. You good up
James,
there?
This I'm just excited, and like, you know, I'm having so much fun just watching, let alone having to call this action. I'm so glad you're up here with me, James, because it'd be so hard to keep track of it all just by myself.
There's a lot going on, especially Bristol Dirt. A lot of these guys, looking at our live timing statistics, a lot of these drivers have never ran an official iRacing Dirt event, only doing it during league sessions and private practices. So there's a few dark horses in here. I mean, a great example, Wayne MacArthur in Dirt has a rookie 2.83 license. We know he's an extremely talented driver, but Dale Copeland in third never ran an official iRacing Dirt event. And that kind of leads to those wild cards that we're not quite sure what they're going to do out here. And I still think it's anybody's guess at this point, especially with these very short runs we're having. And the track's still pretty grippy. It's only going to get more slippery as the night goes on here.
Yeah, absolutely. As the dirt basically gets driven out of the track, and it leaves a very, very thin layer above the concrete that would normally be there, it's going to get very, very slick, and those tires are not going to know where to grip exactly, and it's just going to send the back ends of these race cars out ever more as the run goes on.
Now, Gareth, I don't know how much experience you have at Bristol Dirt. Last year when I produced a race for the NASCAR Coke Series for one of those teams, as well as the Old Bashers Racing League Cup Series, as this runs on the exit of some of the corners get so bumpy with acceleration bumps, some of the drivers will actually get airborne over the run. So something else to keep an eye on. Despite the track getting slippery, it gets even worse with massive bumps and jumps as this is going to develop. So I am very intrigued to see how many drivers of our 26 entries we still have remaining at the end of this thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, James, I don't have any experience with Bristol Dirt apart from what I'm watching on screen right now. So certainly something that I was not familiar with or didn't know coming into tonight, but that's definitely going to change things up and make it very interesting as the run goes on. If we can get a green flag run lasting long enough to make that as big of a factor as you're pointing out, but I'd love to see some of these cars go airborne. I think that's going to be putting on a great show.
Yeah, every year Bristol Dirt here at the Old Bastards Cup Series, one of our most viewed broadcasts, sometimes by racers. That's funny. If you see a big crash, the viewership will immediately light up as the crashed out racers go see what on earth just happened from our view. But we are green flag racing once more. MacArthur on the high side, Robinson down low, the number 23 machine right behind them. That's Copeland and Ogle doing battle. MacArthur way up on the high side. Robinson running a bit of a middle groove. Robinson, great drive out of the corner, but here comes Copeland looking to challenge the second place driver, MacArthur. These guys already have about a 7/10 breakaway away from Moore, Ogle, Jones, Nelson, Watts, Walker, and Schultz, who make up the top 10, but the battle for second underway. Copeland right on the back bumper of the 83 machine, looking for a way around, but still very early in the race. These drivers had to be careful not to be taking those cars home early.
Absolutely, as Copeland looks like, ooh, it looks like Ogle had a bit of an issue. Hit the inside wall, so a little bit of a, whoa, he's got to watch the rejoin, as it looks like he almost came up in front of Wanamaker there, but thankfully nothing getting involved as he's still on the apron and still struggling to get his car under fire.
Yeah, these machines, if you do not have the revs low, if you're in second gear and just give it a whole lot of throttle, very easy to spin that thing around and kind of complicate issues. As we're going to pull up our picture-in-picture here. As, man, Robinson doing a great job. He's in the bottom right corner. We go a little bit further back. That's Wayne Hufford, Cameron Shosey, Ryan McRubbin battling for the 11th place position. There's just great racing all across the track here tonight. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's some form of good racing. As, ooh, that was Brian Lynch in the wall of the number 9 machine. He's got big problems, and I couldn't tell. That might have been the pace car against the wall. It almost looked like a driver had pulled over and parked.
I did not see that, unfortunately, so I cannot quite say, but one thing I'm super impressed with is Copeland seems to have figured something out very well, and we've got a crash report for Victor Lane once again.
Victor, if he didn't have bad luck here at Bristol Dirt, he wouldn't have any dirt at all. Let's see what happens to the number 10 machine as we are behind the iRacing safety truck. That looked like race leader Robinson going around, followed by MacArthur. Victor once again goes low to get out of the race line. But again, just no traction to be found there. I mean, almost identical. This time, Sans boop into the wall, but man, Victor's got to be frustrated with this one here tonight.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's because he was completely off the banking of the corner, and there's just, the dirt is so unforgivable when there's no banking to really help these machines out, especially when they're running at speed.
Yeah, that bottom line, there's no banking to kind of wedge the car into. It's dry slick, it's dusty dirt that's not packed down from drivers going around it, and just zero traction to be found. So it'll be interesting to see if Victor decides to call it a night. Looks like he's going to stay out there, that number 10 machine, so well done. And Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine, he's down pit road for a pit stop under caution. Not sure the strategy, maybe looking to see if he has any damage, because I haven't ran Bristol Dirt myself in a very long time. It used to be there really wasn't any tire wear to be had. And as you discussed before we really got things fired off here, looks like a very safe chance everybody can make it on fuel here tonight. So not sure what the strategy is by Ogle, but it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out, as I think that was Robert Garisco getting a wave around.
He may have had a little bit of damage. Yeah, it was, but he may have had a little bit of damage from when, remember, he came down and just slightly tapped the wall earlier on, just before that caution came out. So he may have had a tiny bit of damage. He just wanted to get that repaired on that left front.
Yeah, it seems like a good call. I mean, with how much racing there's still left to go, it's going to be about 110 laps next time we cross the line. I think it's a good call. Go ahead and get that machine dialed in, get it repaired, and then focus, because I think we're going to crash some perfectly good race cars, a lot more perfectly good race cars by the time this is all said and done, because so far, Garrett, it's just been single car incidents. We've had a few guys tag the wall, a couple self spins down low, but really no big crashes to speak of so far.
Yeah, that's been probably one of my favorite parts so far about the race tonight, is that it's been very intense, very close racing, but no one really getting into each other and causing any issues, so which we typically don't see here at Old Bastards anyway, so it is fantastic to see that as always. But we do have a higher limit of 12x over our typical 7, so a little bit more lenience to these drivers here at Bristol Dirt, and I think fair enough.
Yeah, and the dirt racing also built into iRacing a lot more lenient with the points awarded. Normally heavy contact between drivers is a 4x. Dirt racing, that's only a 2x. So drivers definitely, like you said, a lot more they can play with here tonight before hitting the disqualification limit as we get ready for that safety truck to come back down pit road. It's going to be once again Robinson the inside line, MacArthur up high, Copeland and Moore, your second row, and Courtney Nelson and Eddie Cajun Jones will make up the third row.
Yeah, it's I don't know. What do you think we'll see on this restart, James? That's basically what I'm...
carnage. I think the longer this goes on, the more the track dries out and gets packed in, the bigger the opportunity for some heavy incidents on restarts, especially when drivers starting in second gear wick up the throttle. It's very easy to loop that car around. I mean, we saw Robinson do it on the first start, and I believe we just saw a crash report under pacing. Yeah, and Wanamaker has problems under caution, but we're going to go green here as the field in all sorts of disarray. There's a great bird's eye view. Now it's a terrible view. There we go, of Robinson and MacArthur. Dale Copeland in third. Lloyd Moore trying to get in the mix. Courtney Nelson also in the fray. Oh, tell me we're not going to go 3 wide at Bristol Dirt, Garrett. We get close.
Dale really thought about it for a second there, didn't he, as he was about to throw it in the middle.
Oh, and we are going to go 3 wide.
I've got no much more to that than just the sound of me voice, as that looked very, very good with Lloyd Moore as well coming down to the inside. So he's working that bottom lane as well as he can, and it looks like Dale Copeland has found something else inside that Chevrolet Camaro as he is working his way to the front, something fierce. And it looks like he may have a better run out of turn 4, but I don't think so, as he's going to still track behind MacArthur.
Do it for Dale Copeland, making moves in the Chick-fil-A back 55 Chevrolet. Robinson still trying the high line, but like you said, Copeland's got something going here. Oh, nearly avoids getting tagged by Robinson. He's got that thing full wheel lock to the right, trying to see what he can do against MacArthur. He looks to the inside line. Not going to quite have the momentum here, but he's right off the back of the 83 machine of MacArthur. Here comes Copeland right behind. Lloyd Moore, Josh Robinson side by side for third. I think Copeland, I don't know where this speed's come from, but he is absolutely on it here tonight.
Yeah, so is Lloyd Moore. I mean, he's just passed Josh Robinson for the third place position, still working the high side there. So it's absolutely incredible what we're watching right now, as it looks like there is every type of line you can imagine being attempted here, as it looks like Copeland and MacArthur in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Looks like Copeland is going to make that pass and potentially make it stick there. And it looks like he does. He's going to take over the race lead now.
Dale Copeland absolutely ripping it. There's a little bit of lap traffic. Looks like Moore getting cleared of Robinson. So that battle is going to, oh, look at that. Copeland gets all sorts of out of shape. Here we go, the battle for the lead. Still getting out of control. MacArthur able to capitalize on Copeland's mistake. We've got another crash out on track. It's Kenneth Scholes. I have not seen the yellow flag here. Copeland's going to try and hold on to it. I'm hoping the track is clear. Scholes in that incident. Not seen anything so far. And man, Copeland, I don't know, he's driving aggressively, but man, this thing is getting a little bit gnarly out on track.
It's getting very, very hectic indeed. As we go back and watch the replay of what just transpired, I believe Kenneth Schultz and Alan Wanamaker, that is on the high side, but Wanamaker was okay. Schultz just gets a little bit onto the inside wall actually for a second there. Hooks a tire, but gets it back underneath him and keeps it going, pointed in the right direction. And look at Robinson on the high side. Where's he come from? What the? As he is just centered around the high side, and I thought definitely taking that spot away from Moore.
Oh, but now there's lap traffic to play with. Robinson ripping the high line. There's traffic in play. That is the number 68 machine of Jeff Miller. MacArthur tucks in behind Robinson. Copeland opting to stay in that dry line. And oh, there's going to be contact between the race leader. Copeland goes around Victor Lane. Josh Robinson, the number 14 machine of Eddie Jones in that one. Absolute carnage here at Bristol. And I think the field's still stacking up. The big one is out at Bristol. And it is an absolute parking lot.
Oh, believe it or not, James, a tear actually came into my eye. If you believe that or not, that was so sad to see. As just really high, just incredible racing from these guys up front, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking when something like that just happens. And you know, you've got no real control over it as Lane just comes down as he lost traction on the rear end of that machine. And yeah, it just, oh
The
man.
lane and oh my goodness. I mean, there's so many
Copeland, Lane,
crashes. MacArthur
Robinson,
somehow
Jones.
narrowly gets through there.
Yeah,
So
MacArthur's definitely the biggest winner of that one, that's for sure, as he takes over the race
here
lead
comes
now
the
due to
26
that
of Lloyd
incident.
Moore. Mike Watts, the 84, starts checking up. And there's,
Oh, Watts might get involved in that one
yeah, he's going to
as,
tag the wall
oh,
there
he
on the high
squeezed.
side. There's comes the number 30. The number 75 comes plowing into the party. That was Wayne Hufford in the 75. Here comes, I believe, Dan Hill. Does he get through? Oh, yes, but man, the field, is he come through? Oh my goodness, the number 55
Just.
nearly pulling out of the way.
Yeah, Courtney Jones in the 30. As you said, you did say the 30, but I just thought I'd say, um, yeah, so the 30 of Courtney Nelson as well getting involved in that one. But yeah, there were quite a few drivers for sure involved in that one, even if it's just a small minor bit of damage. So not what we like to see. But Dwayne MacArthur, definitely the biggest winner of that one.
Yeah, I don't know how he got through that one unscathed. There goes the 74 machine of Wanamaker getting the wave around. Dwayne MacArthur now up in the top spot. Lloyd Moore, the number 26, will be showing second. Dale Copeland at 55 showing such promise. He's all the way back to 7th now. And I believe Victor Lane did take a tow to pit road, so I doubt we're going to see Lane get back out on track here, as we've got a bunch of drivers coming down pit road. Looks like Mark Schrader also took a tow back to pit road. Not sure if we're going to see these guys get back out on track. As no, Mark Schrader is joining, takes a tow to pit road to join the race in the number 12 Toyota. Starting 38 laps down, I believe. 34 laps down. So Schrader, not sure where he went. Glad he made it out. My goodness, what a race so far.
That could come into play not all that well for the leaders either if he hasn't done a whole lot of practice. Not saying he hasn't, but if he's only coming out now, that could definitely come into play later on. So we'll have to see how that one unfolds as some of the leaders try and make their way up to lap traffic once again. But Dwayne MacArthur and Lloyd Moore will be taking your top row, with Michael Watts and Courtney Nelson in the second row, and Wayne Hufford and Dan Hill, I believe, in our third row.
Yes, sir. We're all stacked up once more. We still have what looks to be 23 drivers out on track here. So haven't sacrificed as much body work to the iRacing gods as expected, but I think we're getting there as the pace truck comes down pit road, and we wait for MacArthur to set things off here tonight, and he will do just that. The number 83 machine. Here comes Lloyd Moore up on the high side. Michael Watts, the 84. He's up 7 spots, trying to get something going. And things have been going well so far for Watts, able to really use his experience, knowing when to lift, kind of let the other incidents unfold, and stay out of the madness. So this is going to be MacArthur's time. Try and put some laps on the rest of the field. Enjoy that clean air. As Josh Robinson, number 23 machine, showing a lap down 20 positions after that one.
Yeah, absolute heartbreak for him. But as it looks like we had a little bit potentially of connection between Courtney Nelson and I believe that's going to be Dale Copeland, who came through there, as well as you can see Wayne Hufford now around Nelson as well. So Copeland has made his way up a little bit after that small incident. I don't believe he came down pit road for anything, as Ogle has centered on the high side, almost loses it in front of Nelson. Wanamaker uses that opportunity to make that pass stick quite easily, and Nelson falls back down now to the 8th position. And just behind them, Kenneth Schultz and Eddie Jones are going to be having their own little battle for the 9th spot, as Eddie Jones on that low side looks to take that spot away.
Yeah, Jones doing a great job here, a big run. I think this is the point where you can see drivers more familiar with dry, slick racing, try and get that momentum built up. I think Ogle just made another spot on Courtney Nelson. So things are definitely happening here, and you know who's happy is Dwayne MacArthur, number 83 machine, your race leader at the bottom right-hand corner, putting his head down, checking out. Now, I'm going to be curious to see at what point does MacArthur start facing a little bit of traffic here. He's about 9/10 ahead of Lloyd Moore in that 26. Dale Copeland moved back up to 4th in the 55, so we know he has the pace. Will he get that green flag run opportunities? Let's go a little bit further back. Nelson, Jones, Walker. A very heated battle here as we're focusing on Walker, the number 2 machine. As Nelson and Jones side by side, looks like Nelson's going to come out on top in that battle, but man, we are only 53 laps into this 140 lap main event. These guys are throwing haymakers out there.
Yeah, they're absolutely sending it, and I'm super impressed with the skill level of these drivers, as it looks like Nelson and Jones got very close together for a split second there, and Lloyd Moore is looking to attack Dwayne MacArthur now up front, as well as we also look further back in the field, and it looks like Robinson was almost getting his nose in there as I believe that is McRubbin and Cameron Chaussee. Is it? It's Chaussee, right?
Yeah, Chaussee is how it's told. You're probably pronouncing it right, but that's how he pronounces it. So yeah, Chaussee and McRubbin battling for 11th. We saw a little bit of lap traffic into play as McRubbin keeps working that low line. Chaussee up a little bit high, and we've talked about this a lot, and actually I'm going to interrupt myself as MacArthur having to cut through more traffic, and that is allowing Lloyd Moore to really close the gap to 0.3 of a second. Josh Robinson, Victor Lane have triggered the pit entry lights. Victor Lane does come down pit road. Robinson also in the box, so those drivers having some sort of issue, maybe having to fix some damage. And man, MacArthur is in a tough spot here. That is a lot of traffic he is up against. And I don't really think we have to worry too much about drivers maliciously doing anything, but at this point, you can see drivers just doing everything they can to hold on to it. Like you just exclaimed, MacArthur in a precarious position here as Lloyd Moore gets a little contact.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a lot more dangerous than it ended up being, so Lloyd Moore very lucky to get out of that one without too much issues. But yeah, I think the problem is that we're seeing a lot of drivers that they don't know exactly where they should go to let the leaders pass, because sometimes the leaders want to be high and sometimes they want to be low. And I'm sure the leaders are probably telling them on the radio where to be, but with these cars handling like they are, a lot of these lap down drivers just aren't exactly sure where they want to be as well as where the leaders want.
Yeah, and it's always an ever-evolving issue, too, with the track developing differently. Oh, as we got a caution somewhere out on track, I think it's going to be possibly Watts involved in that one. I saw him dropping down the standings. But with the track always developing differently, kind of tough to see what's going to happen here as the line changes. So there's not a preferred line. Oh, called it. That was Watts and Dan Hill. A little bit of front to corner panel damage, and oh, Watts going to take a pretty good hit to the wall there. And oh yeah, he's going to go all the way around here.
Yeah, I think Watts just thought he was clear in Dan Hill's position, the position of his car said otherwise, so just an unfortunate coming together. I shouldn't laugh. That's not very professional.
Poor form, Gareth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know, but it's easier to be up here in the booth and judge people racing, but it's so much harder when you're actually having to wheel these cars around this track. So certainly not trying to poke fun at anyone other than just call the action is what I should be doing and what I will continue to do.
Those who can't teach and those who can't teach broadcast, as I think that was Confucius used to say that. Victor Lane joined us in the spectator area saying, "I'm sorry, race fans shouldn't have been out there." And nah, I disagree. It's a series for racers of all skills and ability, and that's part of racing. You have good days and you've got bad days. Looks like Dale and Josh's race may have a uphill battle as Robinson back down pit road. Man, I feel it for Victor here. I've been in those incidents as a driver where things just kind of spiral out of control, and crashing yourself out, that's a bad feeling. But being involved in an incident with a friend and maybe causing some issues there, that's a gut wrencher for sure. So hearts go out to Victor Lane, just not having the night he was looking for, and it looks like Robinson has retired from this event. Dale Copeland, I believe, staying out on track in the 55. He's moved all the way up to third, so Copeland not having too bad of a night here as we are under iPacing for the 5th time here this evening.
Yeah, but one thing again with Victor Lane is that you've got to remember that I think the biggest thing is turning up. From my experience anyway, I'd much rather turn up even if I know that I'm going to be a little bit of a nuisance out on track or slower than everyone else or whatever else. It's just have fun. You're with your mates and you're just driving around, wadding up some cars together. So turning up is the biggest thing, and always enjoy Victor Lane's company as well as everyone else who turns up to these races.
Yeah.
And you, James, as well. I should give you a bit of a shout out.
I turn up every now and then when the moon is just right.
Hey, that's a good goal considering Easter.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. That's it's topical. That's what we're here for.
Nice.
So we're gonna get
ready.
ready.
I hope you can actually see it because there was just cloud cover. It was a horrible Easter Sunday.
No, unfortunately, Gareth, I'm currently inside, so the view is not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what anyway, whatever.
So we're going to get Dwayne MacArthur, Lloyd Moore up on the front row, Watts, Copeland your second row, and ooh, look at this, Gareth. Who do we have on row 3? None other than longtime rivals, Eddie Cajun Jones and Tom White Claw Ogle. We had that poll up in the YouTube spectator area. 45% of our viewers said they're going to go the whole race clean. We are about to find out as the safety truck comes down pit road, and we are green flag racing once more here at Bristol.
Yeah, as we go to green, Dwayne MacArthur once again out in front by a considerable margin, as it looks like Moore and Watts are going to be side by side for a little bit of a bobble out of Dale Copeland for a bit there, and it looks like Eddie Jones is sending it on the high side, trying to get around as they continue to figure out exactly what line they want. Eddie Jones is, there's a little bit of contact there between Copeland and Watts, as Eddie Jones is going to take full advantage of that, but it looks like Lord Moore is challenging MacArthur for the lead right now.
Yeah, Moore finding some good pace here. Jones just kind of coming out of nowhere after this restart, looking for the most amount of traction he can. Looks like Moore gets the back end loose. MacArthur fires back in the race lead, and here comes Eddie Jones. But that party is going to quickly be interrupted as we have another big crash out on track. Looks like it's going to be Brian Lynch involved in this one.
So sad to see for the Hooters back machine. Hopefully we can have a look, and hopefully it wasn't too bad. Maybe just a little bit of a spin triggering our crash report on the software, but I guess we'll have a look right now.
There's Bruce Pearson ahead, the number 22, and you're right. Oh, going, don't hit the barrier. Absolutely drills it in the Hooters back, number 9.
Thankfully didn't hit it too hard, so
you say as the smoke starts coming out.
Well, okay, well, bad timing. But yeah, very, very unfortunate for him as he's going to find himself down pit road for the moment. Hopefully get that one repaired pretty quickly and get himself back out into the fight pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully he can get back out there, try and make something happen here. And it's still a points-paying evening, and every little bit matters when you're chasing championships.
Absolutely. I haven't talked about the banking much here. It's funny because there's been... So when I'm just bringing this up really quickly, I guess, because there's been a lot of interesting facts that I have found, or that I've come to learn of my time watching racing at Bristol. And it seems like there was a rumor going around that Bristol had 36 degrees of banking way back before they got resurfaced and changed, and back in the 60s and 70s, and it seemed a bit crazy to me that that's a bit of a rumor and never fully proven. And it was only in the repave of, I think, about the mid-90s is when they last paved it, I believe. I could be wrong there as well. Obviously, with the dirt coming in, that's changed it entirely. But the banking is now around 22 to 24 degrees, so not as much as there supposedly used to be. But, still enough to help these drivers go around the track.
Yeah, and I'm going to say when they first did the Bristol Dirt Race, that is the only NASCAR race I've ever watched on TV from start to finish. And it was actually more wild than we're watching tonight on the sim with carnage and lack of visibility. And thankfully the driver's not having to face that with a track that's staying dry, but not a absolute dust bowl. So, and also a track I've actually been on the surface of. I've been on Bristol for a Christmas light show they did around the facility.
Ooh.
I've been to Atlanta Motor Speedway, haven't been on the surface, and I've been on Daytona. So there's my 3 fun fact tracks I've actually been on the surface of before.
Well, James, you gotta book me a ticket so I can go over and.
Yeah, come on down.
You want to pay for the flight for me?
Not particularly, but we have been playing the local scratch-off lottery tickets here in between cautions in the booth. So if one of those is a big winner, you'll see the stream shut down, and I'll be buying everybody a plane ticket, and we'll have a good old hoot nanny, as they say here in Georgia. But haven't won yet, so we're gonna keep on rocking and rolling.
That sounds awesome. Is it one of those like scratch and sniff ones, or
No,
is
that's actually not lottery. That is for children's books.
Oh, never mind. I feel like there is a lottery of that though. I feel like I've done one. I don't know. Anyway, that's fine.
So we're gonna get back. We're gonna get gridded back up here. MacArthur and Moore first and second. Watts and Jones your second row. Ogle and Copeland your third row. I still think we need to keep an eye on that 55 machine. I think Copeland's got something in the back pocket with the speed he's shown, but as the track starts to dry out, we're seeing more and more drivers kind of battling up inside this top 5, so I'm excited to see how it's going to work as we are green flag racing once more. MacArthur with a huge launch. Looks like Moore gets caught sleeping at the wheel, and now Watts up 8th position. He's going to be in second, but fishtailing all over the place. And this is going to be a short-lived run.
Oh. A very short-lived run. I was just about to mention how Eddie Jones was almost looking at 3 wide with Ogle, but yeah, it looks like Kenneth Schultz is going to be our crash report for the moment, bringing out our next caution, which I believe it's our 7th caution of the night, but we'll take a look at that again. But yeah, just a bit of a checkup from all the drivers in front. Oh, tags the back of Wanamaker and finds himself careening to that inside wall.
Yeah, hard hit on the inside wall. So unfortunately, Scholes, he will have to be reporting to pit road to try and get that thing back in shape. But you're right, that's the 7th caution of the night. Just past the halfway mark, we missed the crossed green and white flags on lap 70. So we will re-rack them and try again here. As it looks like there's 97 of Scholes, I think. I'm not sure how this works. With the caution come out, he's right behind the pace car. Does he get the wave around? Or is he going to have to let the rest of the field by here?
I feel like that's something I should know, and I'm very sad that I don't. But I believe he will get the wave around. That would make more sense to me, rather than letting the entire field go round. But he was part of the incident, of course, so...
Yeah, I think the incident may negate that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm curious.
Of Mark Fish, he gets the wave around. I wonder when we go 1 to go, if that's when he's going to see something happen. As we just saw somebody.
Yeah, that was Michael Watts. He's trying to get some more dirt there, get some more grip in those tires. So that's one thing we were told to keep an eye out earlier on as well in practice with these drivers, is when they get their tires really heated up, especially when they're starting to get loose. When the dirt is really fading away, these drivers try to cool their tires down, get as much grip as possible by going into that dirt up there. As you can see, Eddie Jones almost listening to what I'm saying and trying to copy around what Michael Watts is doing. But yeah, that's something we've been told to look out for, and it certainly looks like Watts is doing just that.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see. I mean, you can see how big that blue groove has gotten here. And as we said, under caution, they're blowing off the marbles up on the top side, so maybe that's going to help improve the traction. Not really sure here, as I know they've pushed out a few updates here on iRacing in the past. And I do know as well these next-gen Cup cars a little bit more sensitive to damage after the most recent update. So going to be interesting to see how many drivers are left standing at the end of this thing. We're focusing on MacArthur, the 83 machine. He's going to be the race leader. But it is a long time under pacing at Bristol as we try and get this field sorted back out.
Yeah, interesting that Scholes, there we go, he's finally been let around the pace truck, so he's finally going to be able to go all the way to the rear end of the field. We were wondering whether that was going to happen for a little bit there, but it's about time, and thankfully he's been able to do that. So catch back up to the rear end of the field, and we'll get ready to rack him and stack him once again. But yeah, MacArthur and Moore going to be taking your front row with Michael Watts and Eddie Jones in the second row, followed by Tom Ogle and Dale Copeland fighting hard to get back to the front. And yeah, we're going single file. I believe that's actually what you said, so I may have just absolutely ruined everything just by saying that. But Dwayne MacArthur getting a good launch. Lloyd Moore once again sleeping at the wheel as Michael Watts got very, very close to the rear bumper of him. And it looks like Eddie Jones was working that high side pretty well as Lloyd Moore sending it to the outside here of Dwayne MacArthur now, trying to get around the 83 machine. Not quite able to do so though, as they're really struggling with loose race cars right now.
Yeah, guys are really struggling to put down the traction. And Gareth, you might be able to check on your end through the point of view you have. Race Control may have made this a one-file restart to try and expedite how the program is going. It would show up if the admins have changed it manually to a single-file restart. So it's going to be very interesting to see if maybe that is a necessity to keep this show going. We've seen it during the Coke Series as well, where Race Control was very displeased with how many cautions there were. That could be the same case here as MacArthur looking for any bit of traction, trying to put that front left in a little bit of grippy dirt. The rest of the car squarely in the blue groove as Lloyd Moore just kind of looking for any line he can, sliding up to the track, not able to get the power down as he fishtails out of the corner there, out of turn, I believe that was turn 2. So, I mean, this is going to be a race of hundreds as drivers fighting the car, fighting the track, and focusing on that more so than they can even fight each other.
Yeah, I believe we have gone to single file restarts. Just to clean it up, we may see ourselves go back to double file when we have a long enough green flag run that Race Control is very happy with. But for the moment, I believe we're sticking with single flag, but we could see that change very briefly as it looks like we've got a nice green flag run going as MacArthur and Moore continue to battle it out pretty hard. And Moore's really caught up in the backstretch there. So that could be very interesting as Moore looks like he's got a bit more pace as MacArthur has to check up behind lap traffic. We'll see that lap traffic get out of the way though. So the leaders definitely making their way through the pack, but certainly not having an easy time of it either.
Now, we did get a report as well from Brian Lynch sporting that number 9 machine. He is done and out, 30 minutes of required repairs. Heavy engine damage for that number 9 machine, so hate to see it for Brian as looks like, I mean, MacArthur and Moore having to be very patient here as they make their way through traffic. Those are just about one of the two closest drivers out on track. As we also have Wayne Hufford, Courtney Nelson. Nelson holds on to it here just barely as he falls back to 9th. There goes Brian McRubbin in the 09 machine, absolutely moving up into 9th. And then here comes Clay Walker, the number 2 machine as well, looking for some opening as it takes a long time for Nelson to build up that momentum that he's looking for. And I don't think he's going to find it as there is contact all across the racetrack. And now Brian Lindsay, the number 24 machine, going to try and capitalize on Nelson's rough going.
Yeah, the rear end of Nelson is looking all sorts of out of shape as he is trying desperately to keep that car under control. It's been loosey-goosey for about 3 or 4 laps in a row. It has been an absolute handful, I'm sure, in the car. He is absolutely getting a workout. No need to go to the gym and lift some weights as he's struggling very hard in that machine, but doing a good job of keeping it pointed the right direction for now and getting it underneath him, as his front right is definitely going to be feeling a little bit of a sting from a couple of incidents with the wall and the drivers. Looks like it's bent in just a tad bit there, but otherwise, I mean, you know, we're getting to the point where there's not a whole lot of battles going on. As I say that, McRubbin and Walker get close together. I believe Walker's just taken over that spot in the 9th position. So, yep, as you can see there. So Walker's just gone around McRobin just behind, and McRobin's starting to fall back now as Courtney Nelson's catching back up.
Yeah, he must have had some sort of little bobble there, losing that spot to Walker. Nelson right back within striking distance. As we're going to go back to your race leader, Dwayne McCarthy, 83, still has more, about a half-second back. We've got a tiny bit of a green flag run here. Now your top two drivers, McCarthy and Moore, have not come down pit road. Moore came down pit road on lap 43. Jones came down pit road on lap 43, getting some damage return. I can't talk. Getting some damage fixed up in that number 14 machine. Oh, and a big moment for Moore there, losing the back end. That is going to give about 3/10 back to the favor of Dwayne MacArthur. And Moore's going to have to put his head down all over again to try and get that ground back.
Yeah, he's working it hard. He's definitely working that wheel as hard as he can. And, you know, Lloyd Moore's one of those drivers that we've seen week in and week out. He shows flickers of absolute brilliance. And I'm sure it's going to take one of those again to catch back up to MacArthur. But doing a great job so far, being very consistent at the moment. And looking like he's got better runs out of the corner than MacArthur does up front. So closing that gap ever so slowly as he continues to work his way through there. You can see we're on board
With Dwayne MacArthur right now, the 83 machine. And man, Gareth, is that a very busy racetrack ahead of your race leader. And to give you an idea of how much the track is slowed down here, MacArthur anywhere between 2 to 3 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race. So gives you an idea of how much these drivers are really fighting the track conditions, not to mention the traffic. As MacArthur very carefully cutting through the field here. And that's going to put only 13 drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm very amazed with how this field has sort of played out and ran this race so far. It's been pretty entertaining to watch. I mean, there's no doubt about that. As we've almost completed 100 laps, so got a bit over 40 to go. We're really winding down the laps, and you can almost feel it in the air as the drivers start winding it up.
Yeah, the track not as bumpy as I thought it was going to be here with how many drivers we have, and maybe that's attributed to a slightly shorter lap count this season. And maybe a great call from the admins, I've got to say, with how violent things have been in the opening 100 laps. And that lap traffic as well, Gareth, has allowed Lloyd Moore to close the gap back down to 4/10, maybe about a half-second behind MacArthur, the race leader. And that's the kind of break that Moore is looking for. Any chance he can get back in the striking distance of the 83 machine, be it lap traffic, be it cautions, that bodes well for the number 26. As Moore right there behind trying to catch up, but MacArthur has been Mr. Consistency all night long. And that clean air, when he can find it, has got to be going well for MacArthur, and that's got to be the preferred position.
Oh, I believe that's situational because, again, you know, it depends on with the lap traffic is definitely whoa. As we say that, it was very close between Lloyd Moore and I believe Brian Lindsay as well, just higher up there towards the wall. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm not exactly sure where I was going with that train of thought as I lost it while we were watching. But it looks like Eddie Jones has closed the gap to the battle as well, as he is working his way through and catching up to these two leaders.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to get a little bit dicey. Every time MacArthur and Moore have to check up a little bit, choose where they're going to cut through traffic, the field starts to tighten up, and a big sin there from Jones trying to catch up to the back of Moore. Now, Moore and I believe Jones still looking for their first win of the season here. So this would be a great opportunity to try and make it happen with the absolute madness that is Bristol. There's Robert Garisco going another lap down to the top 3. And man, Moore right there within striking distance of MacArthur. It seems like he can't quite get close enough, but we got big problems out on track. Michael Watts and Dale Copeland going to get tied up in one.
Oh, and they are stopped on track, so you know immediately what's happened between the two of them, as they have definitely come into contact with each other.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one here.
A little bit of crab walking from Dale Copeland as well, almost looks like.
There's Copeland up on the high side. Watts is down low. You can see Tom Ogle low center on your screen. What happens Looked like Copeland got loose coming out of the corner, just drills Watts. Or Watts never even saw it coming as they come screeching to a halt, sliding across the dirt here at Bristol. And that is going to be a big hit for two fast drivers who showed a lot of potential here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be heartbreaking for both of those guys. And, you know, Dale Copeland, again, having an issue while he was working his way up to the front. So, once again, going to have to do it all the way from, well, only really falling back to about the 10th spot because of how many laps have been completed and just how fast these drivers are. So not having to actually fall back down too much at the moment, but still going to have to work his way through traffic to be able to get up to the leaders as Dwayne MacArthur continues to sit out front and has put on a clinic so far. Sorry, my voice went really high for a second there, James. I'm not sure what happened there.
Sometimes we just get excited, and this is definitely one of those nights. As MacArthur, more of the front row, looks like Michael Watts returning out of pit road as well. I think Robert Risco may have come down pit road. Triggering the lights. It's tough when they're rolling under caution. Sometimes they hit those pit entry lights. And it's a little bit of a psych out, but it looks like Kenneth Scholes, Chris Bates coming through pit road. Maybe trying to get out of the way.
So yeah, we're under our 8th caution, James, and you know, I guess I don't really have to ask because I already know what the answer's going to be. But how's the race been from your perspective?
I mean, absolute fireworks all the way around. I knew things were going to be a little bit rough for the drivers, but a little bit rougher with the solo car incidents I was expecting. I was expecting maybe a few big crashes, and then things would kind of dial out, but it's been mostly, for the most part, single car incidents that occasionally snowball into something else. I mean, everybody's doing a great job of trying to give each other room, and sometimes the old talent well runs dry and mistakes happen, and here we are, our 8th caution of the night with MacArthur, Moore, Jones, Ogle, and Hufford rounding out the top 5, but there's been several drivers up in the mix that I thought had a solid chance of bringing home a win, and next thing you know, late in the race, they are back in their virtual hauler and having a very rough night.
Yeah, no doubt about that, as we're looking to get ready to go back to green any time now. I believe maybe next lap by. So looking to get going once again, fired back up. Will we get to caution number 10, do you reckon, James? What? I know I keep asking you questions at this point. Eddie Jones getting into the side of Tom Ogle there. I wonder if that was just for camera or not as we get ready to dial this one up once again.
Looks like we are going double file as well here, Gareth. I'm not sure how that's going to bode on this restart, but with 32 laps remaining, I think the odds of us getting 10 cautions pretty good here, as we just saw a crash report. Jeff Miller under caution has some sort of incident, but we're going to go green flag racing once more. MacArthur with a massive launch. We keep a camera on Eddie Jones and Tom Ogle. Don't look away, folks. Oh, Jones gets a little bit loose. That's going to give Ogle the drive on the high side. Jones stays low. Ogle slides it on in right behind Lloyd Moore. MacArthur holds on to the race lead. Oh, man, I don't know what's going to happen here. Jones looked like he was fighting to put the power down, but so did Ogle. And here we go, the battle for the lead. Lloyd Moore with a massive in the 26 tries to get things going. He's just 2/10 back from MacArthur, closing fast. I don't know what's going to happen here. There's drivers sliding all over the place.
Oh, it's absolutely chaos, as it looks like MacArthur is taking it home at the moment, but Moore is trying very hard behind. Eddie Jones has found out something as he sends it way into the corner. The thing we have to remember is that if you put in too much opposite lock, you slide out way too much, you're really going to hurt your run-off speed, as you have to check the car back up, make sure it's pointed the right direction before you can really get the power down. And it looks like that's just happened to Moore, as he has to drop the place to Eddie Jones. Ogle also trying to get his nose in the mix there as well. Moore tries to fire back against Jones now, and it's looking very, very racy at the moment. And up front, MacArthur is very happy to see this in the rearview mirror. as he's trying to get away from these two, but looks like just can't get enough of a distance between himself and Eddie Jones, as Jones keeps sending it into the corner far harder than a lot of these drivers around him.
Yeah, you can definitely tell Jones driving the wheels off that number 14 machine, especially with a little bit of almost too much heat. Almost needs to back off the corners, but keep an eye out on Moore doing the same. And you can see these back end of the drivers step out, accelerating out of the corners. That's just the lack of traction they currently have here. And that almost gave Ogle an opportunity. He might get it again as Moore tags the wall. Here comes Ogle down the inside line. Oh, if it's going to be Ogle and Jones fighting for some podium positions, there is definitely going to be fireworks. We've got Jason Fellenbaum joining us in the spectator area. And he's saying a lot of these drivers racing while the real life series currently underway. We're not going to say any spoilers up here in the broadcast. Hopefully our fans can do the same, but we even heard a report some of the drivers recording the real life cup series tonight as they duke it out in the virtual sim. It's currently MacArthur, Jones, Moore, Ogle, and Hufford, your top 5. Looks like hard charger of the evening, though, going to be Brian Lindsay, the number 24 machine. He's up 12 positions.
Oh, Brian Lindsay doing a fantastic job so far. As you said, you know, up 12 positions, doing a great job in the 13th place at the moment. And still on the lead lap as well, as we continue to watch this battle between MacArthur and Jones, because Jones has really been sending it in so much deeper. You can see once again, it's hurting his mid-corner speed, but it seems to be working very well for corner entry. Enough so that it looks like he is closing that gap, with lap traffic as well. So Eddie Jones really catching up to MacArthur now. We could have a battle for the lead coming very, very soon.
Now, Gareth, with your, another big send from Jones, I was going to ask, with your road race experience, do you think this is one of those moments where a slow in, fast out might be the better move, or is making those big moves, I would say under braking, but I guess under full wheel lock right? Do you think that's the passing opportunity that Jones is trying to work here?
Jones is definitely trying to send it in as much as possible with as much speed as possible, so that he can get as much corner exit speed as possible. As you can see,
here we go.
There was a little bit of a bobble. I believe Eddie Jones actually lifted off there just because he wasn't quite sure where MacArthur was going to go, and now he gets the inside line and he's going to try and make that move stick.
They're side by side. Jones gets a little bit of a nose, keeps it down low. Last thing he wants to do is take out a teammate, but it looks like Jones going to execute the slide job just about perfectly. But keep an eye out. MacArthur, 83 machine, going to return the favor. MacArthur goes down low. Might not have the opportunity, because here comes Lloyd Moore, the 26. He wants that second place spot. Spotting a little bit of blood in the water with MacArthur's mistake. Here comes Moore side by side with MacArthur. Moore up high, MacArthur down low. Jones trying just to search for any bit of moisture in the dirt he can possibly find. Looks like MacArthur's going to hold on to it, but starts to swap that 83 machine around. This is going to be an opportunity for Moore as Jones puts his head down. He's going to try and check out quickly, gaining about 8/10 over teammate MacArthur.
Yeah, Jones is doing a fantastic job. He has absolutely left the building as quickly as possible, as Dwayne MacArthur and Lloyd Moore were really having a little bit of a dogfight just behind in second position. And it looks like Moore is really trying to work that high side because he saw how well it worked for Eddie Jones, and he's going to get that run to the inside, not quite close enough to fully send it, but definitely thinking about it as they catch back up to Eddie Jones. So it looks like Jones sending it a little bit too hard, too often, and maybe falling off here.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. This is a bit of a battle of attrition. Jones does have the luxury and the misfortune being the first driver to have to cut through traffic here. And then the other opportunity that MacArthur has been now being in second, now it's his turn to chase the rabbit. Seeing the lines out of the number 14 machine going, oh, all right, this is what he's doing to find that pace, and learning even more over the course of the run. But Jones in a precarious spot here, trying to find a way around that 28 machine lap traffic. MacArthur says, oh, you can wait all you want. I'm coming for it. Jones about to start showing the chrome horn to lap traffic. And this is going to be exciting because now Lloyd Moore sees an opportunity. Garisco gets into MacArthur.
Gets into him.
Lloyd Moore was able to get through here. Oh,
I have no idea how I have no idea how that was avoided by everyone, including Garisco, somehow not triggering a crash report at all. So doing a great job there of not getting too much involved with anything, as it looks like that's definitely going to hurt Lloyd more, though, as he has really had to slow up quite a bit for that, during that fact. But MacArthur has caught the gap up to Eddie Jones a little bit during that, funnily enough. So he's still able to hang on the back of the 14 machine and really trying something else. He sends it to the high side, and he is copying Eddie Jones's line from before as Brian Lindsay has to let the leaders through. And it's looking very, very dicey with only 13 laps to go.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one as the two teammates battling hard for the lead. And I think that's exactly what happened. MacArthur had the opportunity to follow his teammate for a few laps, quickly picked up some pace here, and now Jones going to have to figure something out. Doesn't want to show too much of a hand here to MacArthur. And well done on the field when given the opportunity, trying to hop out of the way. We saw how treacherous that inside apron can be for these drivers. I think at this point, Jones is going to kind of tiptoe around the dry groove here at Bristol and just very carefully navigate traffic. As boy, is there a lot of it. You can see up against the wall, still plenty of traction, but drivers really fighting here as the 81 tags the outside wall as well, trying to avoid the race leader. There's Bruce Pearson, number 22 machine. He's going to go another lap down to Eddie Jones. Pearson's going to stay up high, and we always talk about what's the preferred line, where's the most traction. I think it might almost be a better call for some of the drivers getting lapped here. Maybe not getting the optimal line for the race leaders, maybe run the most optimal line for themselves where they feel the most comfortable. It would be better as Jones gets tagged from teammate. It's almost better.
Keeps it out, though.
Yeah, no doubt. It almost better for some of these slower drivers to hold their line where they're most comfortable rather than risk sliding around, as we have once again got a three-car battle for the lead with Jones, MacArthur, and Moore. And now, Gareth, who do we have? None other than Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine. Oh, as we've got big contact, MacArthur and Moore.
And it looks like MacArthur may send it down into Ogle, but no, actually keeping it firmly planted forward. So Ogle's going to take that spot, but MacArthur's going to be on the high side. And it's getting very, very dicey indeed. It's almost crazy as MacArthur is still trying to fight with Moore, but definitely on that high side, getting a lot more sideways. He gets into the side of Ogle. MacArthur goes in the outside wall. No caution triggered as of yet. MacArthur coming back down right next to
we are going to get a caution,
Copeland.
But a whole different incident.
Oh, Robert Garisco, we're being shown. And he is stopped out on track right in front as the leaders go by.
Oh, this is going to be...
Pointed sideways.
I think MacArthur just won his own little lottery there with a separate caution coming out. Garisco going, gone. He's going to lose the back end and get a little bit of help there.
Yep, he's gotten into Schulz. Schulz tags the outside wall pretty hard. And amazingly, Garisco not touching the outside wall at all, I don't believe. Maybe getting a little bit of a kiss.
Yeah,
from
right
that
there
outside
at the
wall.
end, maybe. Yeah, but I think he locked up the brakes at this point and said, hey, I know where the leaders are. Let's kind of wait and see how the field comes by before pulling back. So well done. And that may trigger a green-white checker attempt here, Garrett, if we don't get this thing fired up quick enough. We're 6 to go.
Yeah, I'm absolutely astounded that it's come down to this. But 5 laps to go. We are on our 9th caution of the night. Ogle comes down pit road. That is a strategy call if I've ever seen one.
You know what it might be?
Some tires. What do you think?
That could also be Ogle maybe serving a self-penalty here for getting into MacArthur. There is a rule if you're involved in a contact. I don't know if it doesn't count if the caution doesn't come out, but Ogle may be giving a tip of the hat there to MacArthur 83 saying a virtual hand out the window saying, hey, I messed up. I didn't mean to get into you. Let's serve a self-penalty here. That could be the case for Ogle.
Well, both himself and MacArthur came down pit road, also got tires. So, yeah, could also be a tiny bit of repairs, but I'm not sure I'd want to risk it with just repairs. So you might be right there with a little bit as we look once again.
This is the incident between Ogle and MacArthur.
Yeah, so MacArthur just sends it. It looks like too much. And just, it's far too sideways, for my liking anyway, as Ogle was just there. And unfortunately, they just got together and Ogle really got lucky out of that one as MacArthur got sent to the outside wall and Ogle
Let's get
barely
that queued up a little
had
bit
a
closer
scratch.
angle. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't think that Ogle was able to slow down the number 11 machine. MacArthur just absolutely pitches it sideways, tries to bleed off some speed. Ogle seems like he stayed on line there. I mean, he did drift a little bit high, but it's also a dirt race, and unfortunately, MacArthur came out way worse. I'm going to be interested to see how much damage MacArthur has after that incident, because right now, it's Eddie Jones in the top spot.
Yeah, the biggest thing we have to remember is that that kind of incident would never have happened on just asphalt or concrete. You know, that incident purely happened because we're on dirt, because one car's gotten so sideways like that to try and increase their position and go as fast as they can through the corner. And that's the reason why uh, Dwayne MacArthur found himself on such an angle there. And so that's just all part of racing on dirt, I guess. You know, you're gonna send it and you're gonna get these weird angles that the cars aren't really wanting to be right next to another one in that sort of situation. So yeah, I believe we've just gotten to the point where we're having a green white checkered, as we just saw the ticker go from, I believe it said 2 to go back to 3 to go. So yeah, it's gonna get real dicey. We got Eddie Jones and Lloyd Moore, both competitors we've seen running up towards the front. Don't look now, but Dale Copeland as well is on the inside line just behind, as Michael Watts is also there in the second row, and our third row consisting of McRubbin and Walker. So definitely a lot of talent still up in the top positions, and we're going to get ready to look for a real good one coming to green now.
Yeah, I think this is still very much anybody's show, anybody's chance. We've got 2 green-white checker attempts. This is our first one. If the leader can take the white flag before we see a caution, we will bring this thing home under green. Lloyd Moore fires early for the lead. Here comes Eddie Jones, number 14 machine. Don't take your eyes off these top 4 drivers. Anybody shot. Jones still up on the high side, trying to work something against Moore. Moore gets loose. Copeland's going to fairly narrowly avoid tagging the back. Here comes Eddie Jones. He's going to take the white flag. What's going to happen? Jones in the lead. Moore second. Copeland third. But now it's going to be Jones who gets way too loose. Here comes Moore battling back on the high side. Now Copeland's going to try and capitalize.
It is absolutely astounding as Lloyd Moore looks like he's going to be able to take the win away, trying to not get it too sideways as Eddie Jones is under fire from Copeland for second. But Copeland just not able to do it, and he's going to take it home in third. Eddie Jones in second, and Lloyd Moore definitely your race winner. That ended about as close as I can basically imagine, and I am just in awe of these drivers. That was the most hectic green-white checkered I think I've ever bore witness to.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely insane. That's Moore's first win of the season, that number 26 machine. I think the fans are about to go wild as it's Moore, Jones, Copeland, your top 3.
All 3 of these drivers were looking for their first win of the season, so a fantastic job from all of them, as Lloyd Moore, the lucky winner who's managed to keep his car out in front
and
and
even
pointed the
cooler,
right
Gareth,
direction.
I'm terribly sorry for interrupting. That is Moore's first win here in the Cup Series.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, then I tip my hat to you, good friend, as he does a Polish victory lap and goes around Bristol dirt backwards. Alan Kowicki made this Polish victory lap famous way back in the day, and we're going to pay tribute to that right now as we watch the 26 machine going around the wrong direction.
Yeah, they always say turn right to go left. I'm not quite sure if that's what they meant, but Moore is going to be absolutely living the highlight here, and man, he's got to be over the moon right now. First win of the Cup Series, first win of the season. As the fans saying, OBRL, more exciting than actual NASCAR.
I cannot wait to see. I believe it too, and I cannot wait to see what Lloyd Moore, how excited he's going to appear in the booth when he talks in the interviews. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be all out of control here, and we're going to wait for our top 3 drivers to get up here to victory lane. We've got Dale Copeland. We're waiting on Eddie Jones and Lloyd Moore. See if we can get those guys once more. So let's get things started. As we're going to get Dale Copeland up here first. And that number 55 machine. Up first, we've got Dale Copeland, the number 55. Dale, welcome to the top 3 after a great race tonight. Dale?
Yeah, I got you, James.
There we go.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was definitely a wild one. Had a really good start, and then got a little wild there. Had a whole lot of cautions and kind of changed things up. Got caught up in a few of them, and really tough break for some of my teammates.
Gareth, is your mic working?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
I thought we were gonna. I wasn't. That's fine. I'll take over now. Then that's all good with me. But yeah, Dale. So let us know where your head was at when you got into that little bit. I want to say kerfuffle, um, in one of the earlier cautions of tonight, which really sent you back from the lead positions.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough track, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, we don't run dirt, so I mean, nothing that happened out there was intentional. I mean, it's just a real tough break. I mean, we fought to get up front there, and then just got caught up in some lap traffic, got tangled up with a lap car, and just kind of turned the tables.
Well, Dale definitely had the right attitude, definitely had the ability and the pace. I'm sure in the future we'll see you bring home a dirt Bristol win. But before we let you go, who do you want to celebrate that helps put you in that 55 machine up here in that 3rd place position?
I just want to thank the league, the admins, and Dwayne for keeping it running. Like to thank my Team Miata teammates, Tom and Josh. Josh had a tough break tonight. He was definitely, I think, the car to beat. But and thank you, James, for always doing a great job on the broadcast. And we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome, our pleasure, Dale. Great job out there. That was Dale Copeland bringing it home in 3rd. Up next, we've got a man, a few words. Eddie Jones, welcome back to the top 3. A great run, 2nd place for that number 14 machine. Eddie, you got your ears on. Eddie?
Come on, Eddie.
We've lost Eddie.
No.
He'll come back.
I hope so.
I wonder how long it will take Eddie Jones to realize he's currently in the interview room.
It's a good question. I feel like.
Oh,
I am here.
there we go.
Oh, there he is.
Eddie, great run for the number 14 machine. I know you must have had to step out and had a quick celebration. Take a moment, but walk us through your race here tonight at Bristol.
I spent the first 100 laps just trying to be patient, be calm. The next 20 trying to find some lines that may work here, there, and there, here and there. And that last restart just went off in the corner on the high side. It felt good, so I decided to do it down in the next corner, and it stepped out on me, and Lloyd jumped on it, took advantage.
Well, take us through that as again, if you don't mind expanding on it a little bit more, Eddie. You seemed like you had a much better car on that high side. You were really sending it in deep, and it just didn't seem to stick those last few laps. Is that purely based on just the track just getting worn in way too much, or what was the basis of that just unfortunately not quite working out for you later on?
Driver error. No, the slicker, I'm more comfortable the slicker it is. It probably jumped on the gas a little too quick, knowing it was last lap, trying to keep behind me. Driver error.
Well, Eddie, still a great run all the way around. I mean, you were absolutely blitzing out there, especially when you and MacArthur were linked up and making things happen. But before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to? Up 7 positions, a strong 2nd place finish, number 14. You've got to be happy for you and the team.
Yeah, I got to thank all my teammates. They push each other. We all push each other to do better, be better. Want to introduce our new one, Brian McCrubbin. He's our new team member. Glad to have him aboard. And then, of course, I've got to talk about the 11. I mean, just under cautions, running into me, giving me X's, just, almost wrecked right in front of me one time. We got to get a handle on him. I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, I'm sure Race Control will have several strong words following that main event. But, Eddie, congratulations again, my friend. Good to have you back up here in the booth, and great job on a second-place finish here tonight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir. That was Eddie Cajun Jones. But up next, the man, the myth, and the newfound legend, Lloyd Moore. Welcome to the top spot. First Cup win, a massive win here at Bristol. You've got to be absolutely over the moon after that one.
I'm stoked because I am not a dirt racer at all, and I threw away a race at Kentucky a couple weeks ago. Hit the wall about halfway through the race. Car got tight, in, center, and off, and just kind of fell away after the first half of the race. So this definitely makes up for it. I'm pretty stoked tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Moore, you say you don't not a you say you're not a dirt racer, but honestly, I would beg to differ because that race that seemed absolutely in your wheelhouse, and I know there was a few issues. A lot of them you weren't involved in. You managed to sneak through there, but I will say I don't think I've seen you send it as hard as you did this race, and it seemed to pay off dividends for you.
I was I was definitely wheeling it hard, trying to stay in Dwayne's wheelhouse, most of the race, and just kind of pick up what he was doing and adjust to the line of the track as the race went on and the track came in, and so I learned a lot from Dwayne there and stuff, and just trying to give myself a chance at the end. But I spun about, oh my God, probably 300 laps of practice from Friday night until race time today. So just trying to prepare not to make myself look like a fool.
Well, Lloyd, you've definitely found your newfound calling, my friend. I know it's been a long time coming here at the Cup Series, now the Kimball Cup Series. The first win in the new car, first win of the season. I mean, you can't ask for any more. Great to see that number 26 on the top spot after how much you've developed over the last couple of years. And for the first time, definitely not the last time, my friend, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the evening. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make tonight possible for you?
Hey, I just appreciate all you guys here at the OBRL and everything you do and the help that you give and the friendly atmosphere. I mean, we're all a bunch of old bastards racing together, having fun and supportive of each other. So I just want to thank all you guys and my family for putting up with me while I do this stuff.
Well, Lloyd, definitely congratulations. Enjoy the after-race shenanigans. You've definitely earned it, and hope to have you back up here in the near future, my friend. You've definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Certainly looking forward to it. See you next week.
Thank you, sir. Well, Gareth, it was a night of cautions, first-time winners, and action-packed from start to finish, but the fans and the racers definitely came out here tonight for Bristol Dirt.
Absolutely. That was possibly the best definitely the best Bristol Dirt race I've ever seen. Possibly the best one in history. Can I go and say that? I think I can, as it looked absolutely chaotic, and it was chaos in a good way, mind you. It was just straight up action no matter where you were looking, everywhere out on track. It's been an absolute pleasure to call this action with you, James, and I'm very excited to head into Martinsville Speedway next week, so I'm definitely looking forward to that one as well.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A great race all the way around. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, OldBastardsRacing.com, my name has been James East, accompanied by the world-famous Australian Gareth McAllister here at the Kimball Cup Series. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday night, your Easter holiday with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.